This was our first date, and by an act of whatever, she ends up in my arms crying. I would like to get some alone time with Kaory and perhaps a kiss on the nose.
What's good, YouTube? Welcome back to Grim. Today we have another episode of Big Ed on 90 The Single Life as we follow his, well, honestly, train wreck of a love life. But I gotta admit, things have been looking on the up and up so far. In our last episode, despite the insane event of them being in the middle of a gunfight, basically, while going out to a date, Ed and his girl that he is meeting up with in Mexico, Kaory, they're honestly getting together quite well. Like, I'm surprised by how well this man is doing. He's on a hot streak, so knowing Ed, things are bound to go downhill from here. So today's episode, we're gonna see how the rest of his vacation in Mexico is going, and if he's able to actually, elevate this relationship to the next level, which is something that he tried to speed run with Liz and Rose, the previous two women that he was trying to, fall in love with on this show. It seems like he's learning from his past mistakes, but we have yet to see if he's actually able to take this to the next level. Yes, he's over here in Mexico with her, but they have not shared a kiss or anything, and they're not all that romantic yet. They're still getting to know each other. So with that being said, we're gonna pick up right where we left off. I have a feeling we're going to be skipping around a little bit here because I have skimmed this episode a bit, and it seems like they're doing quite a bit of things that I want to cover. So the more boring parts I will be omitting, but anyways, let's get right on into it.
This was our first date, and by an act of whatever, she ends up in my arms crying. This probably brought us closer together. She was afraid, and I was there to comfort her. So there could be a silver lining to this.
So Ed here is talking in his interview to the TLC producers about the situation at the restaurant that I just mentioned, where they were sitting down and all of a sudden they heard gunshots, which is terrifying. They ran into the back room and cried while they embraced each other, thinking this might be their final moments. Of course, that's a traumatic, terrible event, but old Ed just turns everything around to himself. Honestly, he is that self-centered. He says, I didn't want this to happen, but we did end up embracing each other in the closet and getting to hold each other, so I'm just saying things happen for a reason. Like, what, dude? I guess it's good that he's looking for a silver lining in this situation, but it's hilarious that he can have such a life-altering situation happen to him, and instead of taking something from it like, oh, life is precious, I need to work on myself or something like that, he's like, yeah, I got to hug her in the closet. We were hugging each other for like 30 seconds. It was pretty sick. Like, yeah, we were both bawling our eyes out, but we're getting pretty serious. Like, this man is just so emotionally stunted, it's not even funny.
This moment is for wake up, Kaory, wake up Ed, for maybe transformar. Do you know transformar?
Transformation.
So they spent a little bit of time talking in his hotel room about the event, and they're talking about how it really was a wake-up call for both of them. And I believe that when you're in the middle of this, hopefully that's something that none of my viewers or me goes through in our lives. But if you're in an event like that, of course, it's going to be kind of jolting you and waking you up and making you realize, hey, every day is a blessing. Every day I wake up, I need to do something to challenge myself, to transform myself. So I like what they're saying here, but honestly, the rest of their conversation on the couch that I have covered so far, it's pretty boring. Thankfully, Ed did not try to seal the deal at the end of the night after this terrible incident with a kiss on the nose. I was really expecting him to try to make a move there out of like seeing her emotionally vulnerable. That seems like something that Ed would try to capitalize on. It's something that he definitely capitalized on with his previous two girlfriends on this show. So I'm glad. It's again showing that he is learning, he's growing. Props to Ed for not trying to sneak in a kiss at the end of this date. Anyways, now he's sitting down with his mom and discussing the event. Again, this is kind of a boring conversation that I've already gone through, but I do want to show you her reaction because I feel bad for his mom. She's been on this vacation. She doesn't really get to hang out with her son that much, and now she has to hear that he pretty much almost got iced last night while she was dead asleep.
All the waitresses, the chefs, everybody was on the floor just shaking.
You have got to be kidding me. That is so sad. You must have been so scared.
Mom, there was no way out.
Like, she full on starts crying because she feels that bad that, something could have happened to her son and the person that he was on a date with. Of course, she wants her to be in good health as well. It all is just really scary, and it's just showing that Ed cannot have a flawless vacation by any means. Something is bound to happen. I'm not saying he caused this by any means, but the dude just has bad luck following him around. Bad luck mixed with his own, personal problems that he confuses as just being bad luck for himself. But you know what I mean. Thankfully, we're past that situation. He's all good, and now I think it's time for Ed to introduce his mom to Kaory herself. Let's see how this goes. I'm sure this will not be awkward in any capacity, right? Actually, I really don't think it is, because his mom genuinely is such a nice person, and she's so much better at having conversations than Ed. So I think this will go pretty smoothly.
Goodness.
Oh,
It is Kaory?
Soy Kaory. I am Kaory.
I'm not Coyote. Kaory.
And you have no place to be coaching your mom on how to say this woman's name. You still don't know. Hell, I don't even know because they've said it about 10 different ways. He's just like, Mom, not Coyote, it's Coyote. Like, I think they should just stop trying to have the accent on it and just use the R like the American R. Maybe that would be easier for Ed because he clearly, does not have the accent down for this name, and neither do I. I just been saying Kaory because I'm a boring American and vanilla like that. But it's just funny he called her out like that. Like, bro, you've been doing the same thing this entire season. You literally just did it again. You don't know her name any better than your mom does.
Y en nuestra mente creímos que nos iba a pasar lo peor, ¿no? Que íbamos a morir. 37 años en Colima, que nunca había vivido algo así.
So you want to vámonos?
Sí, puede ser, vamos.
¿Nos vamos?
Hey, Mom, can you take Teddy?
Dude, okay, you guys see what I mean about how I have to skip through a lot of these conversations? I didn't even skip that much of the conversation, but they literally talk about the event that happened last night and how scary it was and how Ed protected her and the crew, and then they move on. Like, it feels like this season, TLC is just really trying to stretch out this content of this vacation, and not much happened. Like, they literally sit down for 2 minutes, and then he's like, okay, Mom, take Teddy, we're gonna go for a date or something. Like, what an introduction, man. You're really able to have some deep conversations with your girlfriend that you're not gonna see for, not girlfriend, I should say, this woman that you're trying to make your girlfriend, that you might not see for a long time because she lives in another country. You'd think you'd want to sit down with your mother and have a pretty solid conversation, but instead they just waltzed over to this park bench and were like, okay, yep, that happened. Anyways, you're very sweet. Have a good day. Like, I think this man truly just lacks the emotional depth to be able to have a conversation like this. You know how I always talk about whenever there's a lull in the conversation and he just instantly goes to complimenting? That's why, is because he is not able to formulate the topics or the ideas that you should bring to the table when you're having a conversation. But maybe I'm just getting too far into it. Let's see how the rest of their day together goes now that he ditched his mom. It literally feels like he just got that out of the way in like 5 minutes and was like, okay, your reason for being here is good. You can go back to the hotel and chill with Teddy. I know you want to go see the scenic stuff around here, but no, I'm gonna go do that with her, with the camera crew. You just hang back at the hotel, okay?
Somos like Romeo and Julieta.
Sí, and mi amor. I'm like, mi amor.
Serenata.
Mi amor, serenata. She brings up Romeo and Juliet, which is about what? Love. Hello. I like that.
And this woman mentions Romeo and Juliet once, and Ed's like, yep, I'm in. We're in love. I like that. I mean, I could see myself with this woman. I'm already picking out a ring. Like, that is what it takes for Ed to just jump in head first again. Like, as soon as he gets one piece of validation and one little clue or inkling that this woman might like him, he's like, yep, I'm in. Let's go. Let's get married tomorrow. I already got our baby names picked out, even though I'm 70 years old. Let's get it. Like, hit the freaking brakes, man. Actually, just don't hit the gas. That's what you need to do. You need to just idle and let your car creep forward, okay? Assuming it's an automatic. But do not hit the gas, because that is where you crash and burn every single time, Ed. We've seen it happen twice on the show already, and we're trying to look out for you, dude. But it's gonna head down that road again if you start moving too fast as soon as this woman gives you even the slightest idea that she sees you to be the Romeo to her Juliet. If anything, she was just saying that this scene looks like it's straight out of the movie, not quite that you two are the characters.
Is this the moment? Do I make my move? Do I go in for the kiss? That was fun.
Thank you.
I had a lot of fun.
Thank you for all.
You're the best. Besos.
We are the best.
Oh my God, okay. I know you guys have been here. Maybe your parents didn't allow this, but when I was in middle school, I was able to start going on my first couple dates, if you could even call it that. And this is the middle school, like my mom's waiting for me in the car and watching us type date exit, if I've ever seen one, okay? He literally just spent this time walking around these botanical gardens with her, gives her a hug, and this is where he's talking about to the producers about how he wants to leave her with a kiss or try to figure out how to get a kiss in, because obviously that's showing that their relationship is going to the next level. And instead they get this awkward extended hug, and then as soon as they break away, he's like kisses and gestures to his mouth. And I don't know if you guys notice this, but as soon as he does that, she starts like taking steps away, like moving away. She's like, we're the best. Aren't we the best? We're such good friends. Like, it is so obvious this woman is not into it, at least at this point. If anything, she might just want to be moving slow, and that's totally respectful. But just that really desperate attempt for bringing up the idea of a kiss by Ed there was just so slimy and so awkward awkward, and then they just kind of waltz away on this path down separate roads. It's just so cringe, but you know what? We're gonna take our time. Ed's talking about in the interview that he wants to take his time, and I'm glad he's at least learning what was detrimental to his recent relationship. So if anything, he's just being smart about this, but still, that was some classic Big Ed cringe. I love the stuff like this with his life where it's not like outwardly cringy, but if you look at it as a whole, it has such nuance to it. I don't know if that makes sense, but that's one of the most magical parts of this show. Anyways, they go on another date where they end up going on a hike, which just sounds like exactly right up Ed's alley. Kidding, of course. He actually has been losing quite a bit of weight, I can tell. Man's been hitting the gym, so if anything, this is a great date idea, but still, I'm not trying to see this man break a leg or something. Hopefully they're starting on an easy path.
I feel physically attracted to her, and I'm noticing that she hugs me a lot. Hey, this is not funny. This is, oh my God. ¿Está bien?
So let's do this.
Hey, you hear that? Ed's been getting hugged quite a bit, guys. That means it's moving on up in the relationship world. This hike itself is just a symbol for their relationship. He's taking these baby steps, and you know what? He might be tumbling and falling here and there, breaking some ankles, but he's gonna persevere on until they reach that summit. It's quite beautiful if you ask me. TLC is just masters at making visual storytelling. Kidding, of course. I don't think they were trying to make that allegory or whatever the word is for what I was just describing, but either way, they make it up this tiny hike, and this is where they have a conversation that honestly shocked me. I was not ready for this, but check out what Kaory says here to Ed.
You're so abrazable. Like osito de peluche. Que pueda conocer a mi familia. Mi mamá no está aquí, pero mi papá, mi hermana y a mi hijo, Carlo.
Did you just hear that? Did you just hear that sound? Ed just leveled up his relationship XP. He's to level 2 now. She's saying, I want you to meet my family, and I want you to meet my parents and my son. That is a big freaking move. And she calls Ed huggable. Even though she did describe him as a teddy bear, if anything, that's, like, still a compliment for Ed. He took it kind of negatively, but I think that's a good thing. Now he needs to bank on that and be hugging her all the time and show just how truly boyfriend material he is. But yeah, that is where the rest of the episode is going. We're about to see the meeting of him with her family, and hopefully this is not a train wreck. I really hope they like Ed and they don't just judge him based on the looks or maybe his weird jokes at first, and really see that he is down here because he's trying to find love. At least that's what he claims. And I don't have anything negative against Ed this season so far because, last episodes in the last season, I was really thinking like, I just want this man's love life to fall apart. But regardless, it seems like he's really trying and he's really making some personal strides. So I am hoping for the best for this guy. Let's see how that goes.
I like your hair. Do you put mayonnaise in it? Oh, mayonnaise. It's a...
Mayonesa.
Mayonnaise.
I do. When I would have my hair long, I would put it in and it makes it soft.
Bro, okay, so he's meeting the son for the first time and he sees the son has long hair and he immediately brings up mayonnaise. You're trying to have this kid who is almost a teenager. I think this kid, it actually is a teenager. He's 13. You're trying to have him respect you and look at you like someone that he could see truly being a cool, father figure down the road, or at least be a nice companion for his mother. And the first thing you bring up is that you used to put mayonnaise in your hair. That's your freaking game plan in front of her whole family. You want to admit that you're putting Miracle Whip all up in your roots just to preserve them and make them less oily. That's not a good move, dude.
Mi mamá me platicó que Ed era buen tipo. Ed, pienso que Ed es gracioso, ser payaso. ¿Está bien?
And then this kid freaking says, yeah, he's kind of like a clown. Like, I guess that's cool. He makes me laugh, but dude's definitely a clown. Like, there's just no respect there right away. And it's great that they cut over to Ed's sunburnt face as he has literally a red nose, looking like a clown. Oh, this is just magical. It's off to a great start, Ed. You're killing it.
Didn't you recently celebrate a birthday?
Oh, le combina con tu...
In a jersey? But this is
empiezas a hacer deporte.
official.
So then, even though Ed in the intro of this season, you remember when he was rock shopping for her, like trying to get those different stones, he was really saying he does not want to try to wow her with money. He wants to find her like just normal gifts. Well, then he turns around and goes back to his old ways and starts splashing this kid with just straight up baseball gifts, like just dripping him out with all these jerseys and hats and everything, a signed baseball. It's kind of ridiculous. Like, this man is trying way too hard to win this kid over, and I don't know how well that's going to reflect with Kaory, who seems to not care about all that material stuff all that much, but maybe that's just me.
Ed sacó los regalos. No era necesario, porque es muy material. Pero no tengo idea si Ed es un buen comprender.
We just saw in real time her developing an ick for Ed right here, as she realizes, wait, this dude is actually exactly what I expected. He's just some guy from California with money who is very materialistic, and this is where I think we're gonna see some cracks in this relationship as this goes on. They really seem like they both are interested in finding people that, you know, are compatible with them, but I just don't know how compatible they are. Ed doesn't seem the type to be wanting to hike every single day and care about all these crystals and the spiritual stuff. I'm sorry, he just doesn't read as a guy who's into that sort of thing. Yes, they are close in age, but there still is quite an age gap, and I just feel like there's gonna be a lot more of these moments down the road where you see her kind of making a face like, is this the right move? Hanging out with this guy and having him fly down here with this TV crew to like film the start of our relationship? Like, I just don't think this is gonna work down the road, but who knows?
Que le puedo decir que es muy agradable.
He wants me to tell you they're very pleasant.
Oh, thank you.
Gentlemen.
Thankfully, it seems like the rest of the family honestly digs Ed. The parents here say that he's a very pleasant man, so he was able to put on the good enough of a show and not make too many mistakes being cringy or just being weird to where they got a good read on him, so that's good. But I mean, the rest of this is still going to be an uphill battle because, like I said, I feel like there are some deep compatibility issues here that are being overlooked simply because Ed is such a simp for any person that he thinks he could have a relationship with. He is that desperate to where he is willing to overlook those differences just for the sake of being in love, and that is a dangerous road to go down and a lesson I think he's going to learn later in this season. I'm not clairvoyant, but that's just what I expect.
I just hope that he senses that I'm sincere and my feelings for his mom are true. Still, I'm not really sure where I stand with her.
And you know what, Ed? I don't really know where you stand with her either, but I think that's where we're going to leave off on this episode. I know I hate to leave you guys off on a cliffhanger, but that was actually the end of this episode that I'm reacting to. So I promise we're going to have another part, not, you know, weeks from now. It will be just later next week. Been having some issues on uploading these just with, you know, the different clips that I use. Sometimes I literally can't include certain clips because YouTube will just punish me for them. So trying to find my way to edit these in a proper way to where I can still show you guys the good moments and the juicy bits without giving it all away. I think that about does it for today's video. If you want to watch this series, make sure you subscribe to Discovery Plus or check it out just on TLC's YouTube channel and everything. I appreciate you guys who watched to the very end. Let me know what you thought of this episode so far and how Ed's doing. I'm honestly very iffy. I feel like things are about to get derailed pretty much in the next episode, if anything. But as always, I appreciate you watching to the very end, and until next time, peace out.